Sometimes things in life don't go as planned. For example, when I came out here, I had my tripod rather, over there, my camera, and I was going to use my Sony camera to record my babble, but I forgot the SD card. And I didn't check the weather to see if it was going to rain or not. I thought it wasn't going to, but it is. And that's just how it is sometimes. You don't know what it is that you're going to get. But at least I didn't forget my sausages. And at least I can manage to start a fire even though it's raining. I wanted to make a video about normalcy bias. If you don't know what normalcy bias is, it's basically being biased and thinking that the way things are is the way things are supposed to be, and that they're normal. Now, an extreme example of that could be the fictitious world of the Matrix series of movies, where all the people who are under the Matrix just think that everything is normal the way that it is in the Matrix, and that's all they've ever known, that's all they've come to know, and it's just the way that things are. But really, the Matrix series of movies is just an allegory for the way things actually are in real life on this planet. And it just goes to show, oh, look at this fire. This is such a good fire. Got the kind of rocket stove going on where the air's going in here, and it's feeding it from the bottom. Those sausages are going to be delicious. Anyways, back to the topic. People in real life in this world tend to ascribe normalcy to things that, by any normal, level-headed, historically literate mind, anybody like that would deem it absolutely the opposite of normal. Case in point, the thing that's going on in England right now, where they're just outright admitting to the fact that they're planning on giving everybody a digital ID. And of course, the ostensible excuse is that they have all these migrants coming in that are unaccounted for, and so therefore they need digital ID for everybody who wants to work, has to get this cattle tag, basically, or else they'll be out of a job and out of a way to support themselves. And at least there's a little bit of a pushback in England about that. But you talk to people about that sort of thing here in this country, and you mention that things like real ID that's being pushed here is the exact same thing. It's just the same direction. It's the same concept of giving everybody a fucking digital cattle tag on their ear, so that every single thing can be tracked and traced by this megalith, by this ginormous organization, an entity that we call the state or government. And if things continue to go in the way that they've been going, it'll be deemed normal to have a digital ID, to have to get a real, quote unquote, real ID in order to work, in order to have a bank account, in order to have a car, in order to have, etc., so forth. That in the future is going to be deemed normal. And then the next step is going to be, well, it's going to be normal for you to be, in order for it to be illegal for you to be separated from your digital ID. So then there's going to be implantables, right? There's going to be implantable microchips. There's going to be, brain chips. Elon Musk working on brain chips, not a conspiracy theory. He's working on them. And then it's going to be normal to have curfews, and it's going to be normal to have acceptable places for the slave or subject or civilian to be able to travel to, because other places are going to be deemed too dangerous, or wildlife, refuges or whatnot that are not to be touched by the filthy humans. And it's just going to keep going and going in the direction of that Matrix style Hunger Games sort of society, until the people that built things like the Georgia Guidestones get their way. And then it's probably going to be the point of where people are going to realize what just happened, and they're going to try to resist, but it's going to be too late. It's going to be way too late at that point, because it's going to be too far gone. And that is going to be humanity's downfall, is this idea of normalcy, where everybody just comes to grips with the way things are, comes to accept it, and then proceeds to deem it as normal, even though it's the furthest thing from normal. Like, the way things are in this world are not the way that they should be. We're not going in the direction that we should be going. And it's a real shame, because if you're somebody like me, you love humanity. You love what humanity is destined to be, what it should be, which is living in freedom, living in, voluntary cooperation with your fellow man, and not forcing your fellow man to go along with systems and with things that they have a moral quandary with. Living and letting live, as the liberals like to say, even though they're just as much statists as they are as the rest of people who believe in government, and therefore believe that it's okay to force people to go along with things that they deem necessary, with things that they deem moral, forcing people to fund programs and whatnot that other people might find reprehensible, such as the welfare state. But anyways, normalcy bias will be the downfall of humanity, and it continues to be one of the main reasons for humanity's downfall. So that's all I have to say. My sausages are done, so I'm about to enjoy the shit out of these. Catch you next time.